Well, thanks, Chris, and thanks for the plug. I'll buy you a beer later. I'll buy you a green beer. I'd like both of you guys to dive a little deeper. I mean, Chris, you mentioned some of, in general terms, your traffic. Some of the metrics that define some of your respective competitive positions. Everyone talks about how, Google is the leader in search. ComScore puts their market share, I think, somewhere around 63%. You each rely on a great deal of direct navigation traffic from really engaged users. Can you give a little bit more color about your metrics there?
Yeah, I mean, so we have 110 million uniques that come to .com every month. We have 60 million unduplicated uniques that come to our local properties across the AOL network every month. And while it's small compared to Google and Yahoo, we have 4% of the search market, which is a nice business to have. We'd like it to grow, and we're working on doing that. But it allows us both, whether it's from .com, whether it's from our local properties, or whether it's from core search, we can drive really strong traffic into verticals and into our partnerships. So,
Arif, any thoughts on the sources of your traffic and any metrics to give some more color on that?
Naturally, we like to leverage our network. So
right.
we have a number 2 position in search. We have a number 1/number 2 position in front page, depending upon how you look at it. And we have deep integration of local into those experiences. So we're really trying to localize those experiences, and the result of that is specifically within the local search context, handling over 1.5 billion local searches last year. Yeah. So that's kind of our key metric.
So, I mean, I don't know what your experience is, but what you call shortcuts, we call one-clicks, and those are incredibly powerful in terms of driving traffic into our verticals and into our partnerships. And we're constantly focused on how do we refine those one-clicks, both in the keywords and the terms, as well as the look and feel, in order to maximize and grow those CTRs, and then obviously, quality traffic, quality conversions on the back end. So.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I would agree. I mean, not everything needs to be high technology in order to create more value for the user. So certainly, I spoke about intent, and we want to understand what the user is trying to get done. At the same time, there are some very basic things we can address in terms of the user experience in those direct displays and shortcuts to accelerate more content and help users kind of meet the total scope of their information needs and get those tasks completed.
So how do you guys view SEO? I mean, I mentioned direct navigation traffic. Search is clearly a large front door to a lot of online experiences. Besides just having great content, which of course, you have a wide breadth of content, and that gives you a certain amount of SEO muscle. But anything more explicit in terms of SEO strategies that's developing at both of your organizations?
Well, I won't. SEO is very important to us, right? And I won't go into our specific strategies, but we do pay a lot of attention to it, and sort of a key metric that I put out there is 50% of our traffic to our Yellow Page product comes from SEO.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
So, we've built a very healthy Yellow Page business that if the AOL network were to say go away tomorrow, would still be fairly robust because of what's coming from Google and Yahoo and MSN.
Well, that also is an interesting competitive position because a lot of IYPs out there, the ones that you mentioned that you're, I think, in 4th place,
yeah.
1, 2, and 3 are probably yellowpages.com, Superpages, and the kind of usual suspects. They've gotten a lot of criticism for the architecture of their data and the fact that it's not optimized. I mean, it seems like that would be an opportunity and maybe attributable to your position if you're coming in with a more tech-minded attitude.
Yeah, I mean, we do find some interesting things when we look at our friends in the IYP space, how they've adopted some of the things that we've done on our products. Mm-hmm. And so that makes our team, back in Dulles feel very good, right? Because they care deeply about Yellow Pages.
Now, you guys differ in your strategies with respect to all of these different verticals and all of these local products. AOL being into lots of different kind of off brands. You mentioned when.com. There's MapQuest, kind of probably the best example. Yahoo, on the other hand, mostly kind of branded Yahoo branded sites. So, do you guys care to give a little more color on really what's behind those strategies? Atif, go ahead.
Well, what I would say is that we clearly have a local portfolio. So it's a local destination site. We have a separate Yellow Pages experience, which is distinct. We have a Maps product, and we have a standalone, events site. And what we're really looking to do is a couple of things strategically. The first is to look at local as a horizontal. So that would be examples of that would be people visiting other vertical properties, whether it's real estate or health or something like that, and threading the information that we have, this very valuable asset of content around merchants and reviews and photos and all the deep profiles that we have into those experiences. So that's a very important thing for us as well.
Chris?
Yeah, I think let's just be honest about it, right? So when you do the math, at some point, almost everyone in the country was an AOL member, right? At some point, so. There's a large chunk of the market that has a certain relationship with the brand, right? Some love the brand, some really don't like the brand. So we can spend lots of money, and we did for a long time, trying to market our way out of that problem, right? And we decided to go into a different track, which is, let's take advantage of the traffic we have. Let's build good properties. And let's remove, some of those issues from the consumer when they come to those properties, right? So, Media Glow, which was recently announced, you can essentially call that an off-brand, right? And, Media Glow has a really aggressive strategy, which I think is fantastic, of launching all these new properties, these new verticals, really having their own brand, their own voice, and sort of benefiting from the network effect, but not having to have the brand halo around it. And it's a strategy that, that we agree with. We're doing it with when.com. We have some other products that we're going to launch in a couple months that are off-brands coming out of my group as well. So I think it just makes it's just good practical business sense.
Now, I know Media Glow is fairly new. Any comparative metrics that you can give more color on with respect to that compared to the previous strategy where there was a lot of AOL branding?
I think it's too soon.
Okay.
Right. The metrics that I see, Bill Wilson, who's the head of Media Glow, sends out an email every Sunday night talking about their progress, and they continue their growth year over year, month over month. Their new properties are growing fast, so it's all good.